and welcome to Rock Your Block, where we highlight individuals within the community that are making an impact. I am your host, Larry Laws. On today's segment of First Home Alliance, we have a very special guest. He's a graduate of Inter-America University of Puerto Rico, where he earned his MBA. Before changing his career to accounting, and actually furthering his career in accounting, for 6 years he ran his own business as an information system manager in New York City. Currently, he owns and operates a income tax preparation service in Falls Church, Virginia. Please welcome to our show a first-time home buyer, Miguel Garriga. Miguel, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. And so, how's the weather treating you?
The weather has me worried, especially after having become a homeowner recently. I'm worried that my trees are going to land on my roof.
Yeah.
But other than that, okay.
Yes, yes. Well, you know, we met a few weeks ago. It seemed just like yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And got a chance to know a little bit more about you. And so, how long you been in the Northern Virginia area?
I've been here 9.5 years.
Okay.
I moved here from Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
I went to college in New York and then moved back home to Puerto Rico. I was there for 6 years and then transferred here 9.5 years ago.
Yes. And so what do you do now?
I currently work for the Department of Defense as an accountant or contracting, and then I also have my own tax practice part-time. I've been doing that for about 6 years now.
Okay. And so in your income tax preparation business, actually what do you do with that?
Pretty much my niche is I do personal tax returns for people like me. You know, I do mostly concentrate on personal taxes, small businesses. Mm-hmm. I don't do major accounting work because I enjoy the personal interaction with the general public. So that's my niche, you know, personal tax returns.
Okay. And so, you know, we talk about individuals impacting our community. I think you're one that impact your community because not only you have a federal job, but you actually do a job where you help out the common person. Yes. But we also talk about first-time home buyers, and they look at you. You're not, you know, just get out of college and purchase your first home. You actually have some experience in purchasing real estate. Tell us about that.
Sure. I started back young when I was 27 years old. I didn't really know much about buying a home, and I actually did a first-time home buyer FHA loan when I was 27. I bought a multi-unit home. Had 2 tenants that I rented, and I lived in one of the units. I was, you know, I became a landlord basically, not realizing that that's what I was going to do. I've always been pretty handy, so bought my first home in New York when the market was good, and that was a really good investment. The house needed work. I did a lot of it, and then 2 years later, when I decided to move back home to Puerto Rico, I sold it, and I sold it at a profit, so that was a good thing.
Yes, yes. Well, you know, you're a first-time home buyer, and that definition of first-time home buyer, some people think that you have never purchased a home before. But actually, it's been over 3 years from home ownership, and now you still get the benefits of first-time home buyer benefits.
And I learned that at the First Home Alliance. Thank you for you know, the coaching classes, because I was not aware that I could fall on that category. So yes, I could be considered a first-time home buyer.
Okay. Now, being in this area, I know you say you've been here for 9 years, and this is a pretty expensive.
Sure, sure, and yes, and it could be very intimidating to buy a property. You know, I was researching and taking my time to make sure that I did it correctly, just because the market, the housing market, you know, back when I bought my last properties before this one, the market, you know, value was lost, so I was a little bit intimidated here of the buying process.
Yes. Now, how was you able to find an affordable unit that suited your needs here?
It was difficult.
Yes.
I found a home in Falls Church area, and the houses, it seems like it's a seller's market. Everything comes on for sale today, and 2 days later somebody has an offer, or they offer more than that they need. I just got lucky, found the right house. It's a 2-bedroom home. I just got there and saw it, really liked it. I said, this is me. And I put an offer and it was accepted, basically. So I think it's luck, really,
Yes.
in that sense.
Okay. Now, you didn't immediately come to First Home Alliance in the beginning process of purchasing a home. And so you actually work with a real estate agent.
Correct.
And so how did you go about selecting an agent you work with?
So, I'm fortunate to have a family member that's a realtor, my uncle.
Okay.
He's been doing a real estate agent for 19 years. He's also a civil engineer. Also, he retired from the federal government. He used to do home appraisals and home inspections. So, working with him, family member, I trust him. He helped me give me an angle. Just know when you go buy a home. We would look at the basements and see if there's humidity, if the ground is settling, if you have cracks in the wall, things of that nature. So, I think it was a fortune to have a family member, basically.
Yes.
Ease into the process of selecting the home.
Well, that's great, and I think that was a good selection. Getting someone with the experience. Now, and so when you came in communication with First Home Alliance, you actually attended one of the classes. And so, why did you come to that class?
So, it happened purely by accident, but I'm so glad I did, and we'll go into it. But I was originally going for a FHA loan with a VHDA credit, which I didn't know anything about. It's a credit that Virginia offers for first-time home buyers, and this credit requires a class. And I searched online and found your service, First Home Alliance service, and then I scheduled. I didn't want to go online because I wanted to go in person, and actually I'm so glad I did that. I went in person because the online is not as personal. And when I went in and I met the Home Alliance team and the different individuals, there was a loan officer, there were realtors, there were financial advisors, credit advisors from your team that were able to really, even though I thought I knew a lot about the home buying process, they gave me a different spin and actually opened my eyes for many other things that I could be planning on and to help me basically get the process done effectively.
Yes. Well, it's sort of like we, as First Home Alliance, we do both the education, but we also do the one-on-one coaching. Correct. And so at the class, we asked, do anyone here want one-on-one coaching? You didn't sign on just because you wanted coaching. You say, but we also asked, who would like to tell their story?
Correct.
And so you volunteered to tell your story. Yes. And actually, after you came to the class, you met with me, and we actually did a pre-interview prior to your closing, about a week before your closing. The interview was nice, and we're going to use that clip at some point in time. But how did you feel on that day?
Well, the process, going through my loan, I started out with an original loan officer, and it got a little complicated just because of a particular situation, and I wasn't sure that I was getting the best service. And then by speaking to you and being able to speak to your team and attending the class, it opened my eyes to other things, which led to making more informed decision, basically, and being able to compare things and rates and the structure of the loan, the type of loan. Originally I was going for one type of loan, and then we switched to another that actually worked out better. At the end, with the advice of the loan officer that was recommended by First Home Alliance, I got a better interest rate and it was almost like $200 less a month in mortgage payments due to the structure of the loan that we did.
Yes.
So that helped.
Okay. And not only that, you volunteered to come to do the testimonial, but then while we was doing that testimonial, your closing within a few days from there, you said that you wanted to give back your time. You say, I'm so appreciative of the information that you all have shared with me, and that it's going to qualify me for this loan. And so we had a planning committee meeting for a fundraiser. And
Correct.
So you came there to volunteer your services to help us with this annual fundraiser. And then at
It was
that
divine
day,
intervention.
Yes, that particular day, you had to seek more services, not so much of just giving a testimonial and volunteering to work with First Home Alliance. Found that you needed to talk to one of our counselors.
Yes. So basically, having my tax business and having met your team, I really felt comfortable with the services being offered. And sometimes, I learned that, I have different customers, people lower income families or people that maybe had a little trouble, they had a business in close, or they're not sure if they could buy a home. And by going through your process, there was so much information that I felt that, I could give back. And then I went in just thinking, I just want to get more information and be part of it. And then I had a little complication with my loan. It looked like it wasn't going to happen last minute, or I needed more time. My sellers were pressuring me to get this done. The original lender that I had wasn't, and I was risking losing my deposit. And I really wasn't going to say anything because I thought I could work it. But being there, I just basically mentioned it to your team. Charlene Watkins from your team, actually, I mentioned it to her, and she says, no, I'm going to put you in touch with Erica Wogan, who is
and so basically for your audience, you was actually denied. Your loan had been denied.
It was denied that day when I was there,
denied.
not knowing that it was correct.
Okay, and you in the meeting, you didn't want to mention it. You didn't want to talk about it, but then you spoke and say, yes, my loan is denied, even though we had an interview the week prior.
Right.
But today I just found out my loan was denied.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. And so it was a crushing blow, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a short break. And then after we come back, I want you to talk to them, after you met with Charlene and then she introduced you to the loan officer, what happened next.
Sure.
Okay? Let's discuss that.
Thank you.
All right. We're about to take a short break, but before we go, I would like to remind you that First Home Alliance is a HUD-approved housing counseling agency serving the National Capital Area. If you're a first-time home buyer or a homeowner in need of mortgage assistance, please visit the U.S. Department of Urban Development website to find a HUD-approved agency in your area. We'll be right back after the break. Stay tuned.
With First Home Alliance. A little bit about First Home Alliance. We are a HUD-approved housing counseling agency that was established in 2002 by our executive director, Larry Law. He established the nonprofit. He established it because his mother purchased her first home at the age of 65. And everyone was like, how did you do that? Because her income was really low. And so that's how he found out about the USDA program. And so through the USDA program, his mother was able to purchase her first home. It intrigued him to see how he could help individuals basically experience the American dream of homeownership. So he established the nonprofit. Mission is to increase home ownership to low to moderate income families. And so what does First Home Alliance do?
Welcome back. You're watching Rock Your Block. I'm your host, Larry Laws of First Home Alliance. If you're just now tuning in, we're joined today with Miguel Garriga, who recently purchased a new home. Miguel, just before the break, we was talking about that day that you was there for a volunteer opportunity, and you let us know that your mortgage loan had been denied. And so tell us about after our staff, our housing counselor Charlene, introduced you to Erica Wogan, the loan officer.
I just have to say that I'm very grateful to Charlene and to First Home Alliance and having met you, because that day, I was heartbroken. I thought, I was risking losing my deposit also because the seller had given me a timeline to get this done, and we were supposed to close a week from that day, and basically Charlene says, you know what, Erica specializes in this type of deals. Your first-time home buyer. Talk to her, just call her. I called her right when I left your office. I was driving and I called Erica. She was, I answered the phone right away. By the time I got home, an hour later, she had sent me an email with what I needed to send her.
Yeah.
I sent her all the information. I discussed the situation, the problem with her, and basically I had gotten the denial letter from my other lender as I was getting home.
Yes, and I found out a little bit more of that when we got storage closing. You wasn't just about to lose a $1,500 deposit.
No, it was about $7,000. Yes, sir.
So it was quite a bit.
Yes.
Yes. And so with Erica, I think that she introduced some different options for you and came up with a different loan product.
Correct.
Yes. And how did that work out?
I mean, Erica was so detailed oriented and tailored the process exactly what needed to be done and what would save the most time. She looked at contingency, what's needed, basically, and she just like on point on everything, very detail oriented, and also the loan package. We evaluated versus going through an FHA loan with PMI versus going conventional with no PMI or a Fannie Mae program. I think we ended up doing a Fannie Mae loan, and at the end of the day, I was actually surprised. We were able to get a lower mortgage payment by a substantial amount every month.
Yes, and I think they was doing some calculations there. Not only by changing that loan, the PMI payment, the loan at a different rate, and so over the period of this 30-year mortgage, you're going to save a whole lot more.
That's correct. That's correct.
So the denial was actually a blessing.
It was
in
a good
disguise.
thing. Correct.
Yes.
I got a whole lot less. The part of the complications is since I got the 9-for-1 loan, when the house appraised, it appraised for a little less than originally, so we had to restructure the loan. But Erica worked at the buyers were a little bit tired of going back and forth. Erica even spoke to them and helped ease we negotiated.
And how many appraisals did you have to have?
I had to get 3 appraisals done. And actually, Erica was able to expedite. We were also worried that we were not going to meet the timeline because you have to order the appraisal. It happened in like 4 days.
Yes.
And she was able to speak through the different team players that were going to make this loan happen. The loan was underwritten, if I will, in a week, 7 days.
Okay.
We closed from start to finish in 7 days.
That's unprecedented.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so. The closing, where I know it was difficult getting there, but the time actually, you was able to close within weeks. I should say within days from the original close.
Correct.
And when I say a celebration, I think it was a true celebration there at the closing.
I was very happy, very relieved. I felt, when we went to the closing, Erica was there, you attended, my realtor was there. Just having the loan officer be present at that closing, and you get that reassurance that, she was there from the beginning to the end, and she says, don't worry, I'll be there just in case anything is needed from me. And, sometimes it makes a big difference just to know that people are working in your best interest.
Yes, and we was all there to support you, because we know we have some split closings sometime. Sometimes just a homeowner shows up there with the title, the escrow, but you actually have your whole team there at the closing.
The sellers were not present.
Yes. But they were happy that you was able to get the deal closed. And so, in reference to, was it how was the process in actually you're signing your documents? Did you feel comfortable with the documents that you were signing?
Definitely. Erica had explained the process, the documents. I knew pretty much beforehand what was expected. I had gotten an estimate of the closing costs, and all the documents were disclosed. But partly because Erica did a good job just guiding me through. And when I went there, I think you guys were surprised that it was a 15 minutes closing, basically, because I was reading and also my uncle being a realtor. Yes. But I had no doubts as to what I was signing, basically.
Yes. It went, really smooth. I've never been in a closing that closed so quickly. I've seen, normally it's about an hour, but I've been in closings that lasted an hour and a half or so. This closing, from the time we sat down at the table, 15 minutes later, it was finished.
I didn't want to lose my $7,000 deposit, so I was signing and running out of there.
Yes. Well, magic in the hands. Now this property, it was something with the keys. Did you get the keys that day?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah. No, because the sellers were not there; they were traveling. So I just wanted to make sure I got the keys, because one of the properties I purchased back home in Puerto Rico, the seller never gave me the keys. I had to break into my own new home.
Okay. So we're glad you didn't have to do that.
Yeah, no.
Tell us about this home.
The home is exactly what I wanted. It's in Falls Church. It's close to DC, close to Virginia, the Virginia metro area, where I don't have to commute if I change jobs, or I work for the government, so sometimes there's a chance that you get transferred from office to office. So the house is exactly in the place that I wanted. Small, cute house with a lot of land. I have driveway space. You know, I ride a motorcycle and I like antique cars, so I like working on the car. So I feel like I have a plot of land in the city, basically.
Yes.
So being from Puerto Rico, I enjoy nature. So.
Yes. So do you have a space in the back? Can
The
you have
back,
a cookout?
Yeah, the back has a big patio. I have trees, I have grass, I have a shed.
Yes, all right.
So I'm very happy.
Okay. And what's your favorite room of the house, or favorite area on the property?
I mean, I like my living room, just being able to sit there. I bought a big screen TV so that I could watch TV and watch the shows, and also the yard so I could work on my motorcycle, basically.
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay. Now, what's gonna be your first renovation, or?
I think I want to get a garage door and
Okay.
maybe build a gazebo in the back just for next summer. You know.
Okay.
That's in the works.
Yes, well, it sounds good. Yeah, and so you wanted to give a shout out to the team.
Sure. Just basically to Charlene Walkins, Leonardo, Erica Wogan, Larry, to my uncle Jose, and Christine, the title closer. Just wanted to say thank you. I'm very appreciative of being able to become a homeowner after so much stress of getting the loan process in time. So.
And what would you have to say to someone that, similar to your situation before you got the denial, but was purchasing a home, but felt that they didn't need to go to a class or education? What would you have to say?
I just can't say enough. Like I say, learning is never. You could never have enough learning, and even I am an accountant. I have a tax business, and you think I thought I knew a lot about finances, taxes, etc. But when you go to this course, sometimes you think that let's say someone has a credit problem, just by paying all the debt, you're that's how you fix it, or by going to a credit fixing agency, and this a structured way of doing it. And First Home Alliance actually opened my eyes to know that if I have a client that a client or friend that has that problem, there's a structured way to do it. There's planning. It's not just because you want to buy a house and you think you don't qualify right now. It's never too early to come in and plan for next year. And as you move through life, depending on where you are, your services, credit reporting or financial planning, or just getting yourself ready. Can I afford the house?
Correct.
Actually, that was the other thing. There were tools in the class where they help you calculate your budget. How much can I afford? That was one of the areas that I was worried. I did my budget, but I really wasn't sure, can I afford this home? So I think that's a great tool to have. And just learning about the VHD credit, which Virginia has a credit for taxes, federal taxes, that if you buy a loan, they give you up to, I believe, 20% of your interest paid on your home as a credit in your taxes. That could be a chunk.
Yeah, and Miguel, just in case someone wanted to find out more about your tax services and the things that you provide to the community, how can they find out more information?
Sure, I am at www.magtaxservice.com.
Okay.
And that's in Falls Church.
Yeah. Well, again, I want to thank you for coming in and sharing your story with our audience.
Thank you for having me here. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Miguel. I hope you enjoyed this interview and found some of Miguel's experiences helpful in assisting your move towards living the dream of homeownership. For more information or questions you may have for Miguel, please visit his website. Now it is time to check our inbox to see how we can help rock your block. This is where we share recent questions sent to us from you, our viewing audience, about financial literacy and housing. Today's question comes from Dale City, Virginia. I recently requested a free credit report from annualcreditreport.com, but the website denied me access. That's a good question. The annualcreditreport.com website is a great tool to use. However, you're denied access for many different reasons. It could be your current address or your previous address if you've been at your current address less than 2 years. Also, if you haven't used your credit recently, you can be denied access because there's no record of recent credit. However, it's a good site and it's a good tool to use, and you can also mail in your request to receive your free credit. I'm your host, Larry Laws of First Home Alliance, and it's been a pleasure sharing with you our mission and highlighting people in our community that are making an impact and those who are impacted as well. If you have questions about financial fitness or how we can help make your dream of homeownership a success, send your question to our inbox and tune in to our next show to see if your question was selected to be shared with our audience. You can easily get more information about our services by visiting us on the web at firsthomealliance.org. Thank you for watching today's segment of First Home Alliance, and join us next time to rock your block.
Glad to know that, some of this stuff about, like, I don't know, credit and buying houses is like written down somewhere. A lot of the times it's always hearsay, like other friends or family members who have bought houses before, but they can never, tell you legit what you need to get done and do before buying a house.
I definitely think this class should be required for all first home buyers because a lot of times the real estate agent doesn't explain the process to you. So I think this is very important.
It's from the credit up to receiving a loan, and the most important thing is the process that you go through when you're buying the house, and there are a lot of process which you don't have idea about that before you take this class.
Speakers who came up and spoke about each section, they were very knowledgeable in their field, and I felt like it was relatable. They didn't just throw out a whole bunch of terms that went over my head, but they really explained it in a way to where I understood it, and I could even explain it to my children, and it was even easier for me to take home and kind of remember and process and apply to my next steps. The process was amazing.
They start first with the class before even finding a lender or agent. Because I did all that and I wasn't able to purchase, and then I was like, oh, you know what, there's a lot of information I'm not aware of. Let me just start from the beginning, to put everything on hold. Start from the beginning.
Piecing the information together, because you've heard things about the loans and about this and about the credit, but this is like a summary, and it just gives a clear flow of where to go with what you have and kind of building up a plan. So that kind of gives me a whole picture of where I needed to go and how to get there.